Hello and welcome. We start with updates on the contentious Chagos deal, under which the UK will hand over the strategic Indian Ocean islands to Mauritius. After weeks of back and forth and pressuring Mauritius to agree to the deal, the UK now says the fate of the deal lies with none other than US President Donald Trump. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in Washington for talks with the US President Donald Trump, and it is expected that he will try to convince the US President to approve the Chagos deal. However, ahead of it, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy has admitted that Trump can veto the deal altogether. He said that the UK had a shared military and intelligence interest with the US, and if Donald Trump is not happy with the deal, there will be no deal. Now, last October, after facing huge international pressure, the UK announced it would hand over sovereignty of the Chagos Islands, officially known as the British Indian Ocean Territory, to Mauritius. The Chagos are a group of over 60 small islands in the Indian Ocean. However, as a part of the deal, the UK would maintain a 99-year lease over the largest island, Diego Garcia, which hosts a joint UK-US military airbase. The deal was reached with former Mauritian leader Pravind Jugnauth, who was replaced just days after the agreement was struck. His replacement, Navin Ramgoolam, has been very critical of the deal by his predecessor. He has started renegotiations over the deal. The renewed talks under him have reportedly been on the leasing terms of Diego Garcia, as well as the money involved in the deal. Mauritius reportedly seeks more money than agreed from the UK. The Starmer government proposed to hand sovereignty to Mauritius and pay it over $11 billion to lease back Diego Garcia. However, as per reports in British media, after renewed talks, the UK had been prepared to spend as much as $22 billion. Both Mauritius and the UK denied these reports. But the UK Prime Minister Starmer has now declined to confirm if his recent defence budget spending will be used to fund the Chagos deal. He has announced that he would bring forward a rise in Britain's defence spending, 2.5% of GDP, up from the 2.3% by the year 2027. Opposition confronted him on the issue and asked whether the surge will be directed to the Chagos deal, to which Starmer said that the deal is very important for the UK and US security. He has said he will make last-ditch efforts to convince the US president that the deal is good. However, Trump has his own concerns over the Chagos agreement. He is reportedly wary of the Chinese influence over the security of its base in Diego Garcia, and wants security guarantees in the deal that the base will be protected. The opposition Conservatives in the UK are also trying to convince Trump against the deal. Some Conservative leaders have called Starmer's attempts to finalise the deal borderline treason. Now, they have also reportedly sent a legal dossier to the Trump team on the legalities of the issue and why there is no need to hand over the islands. So, with opposition at home and from the US, the fate of the Chagos deal remains uncertain. To discuss more on this, we have with us Dr. Samuel Oyewale, a security expert who is joining us live from Pretoria, South Africa. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what are the key strategic interests for the UK and the US in maintaining control over Diego Garcia? And how might a potential rejection by the Trump administration impact the UK and Mauritius negotiations?
Thank you so much. There are three key strategic interests that are involved in this particular contest. The Garcia is hosts a joint US and UK military base, which is critical to US and UK strategy in the Indo-Pacific to protect the sea lane and open it up to international trade. It's also critical to the war against terrorism in the Middle East, as well as in the Horn of Africa, as well as the war against piracy, counterinsurgency, as well as campaign against illegal fishing, as well as other illegal activities like drug dealing and trafficking in the Indian Ocean. In addition to that, it is also strategic to the U.S. strategy in responding to the emergence of China in the Indo-Pacific. So these are some of the major reasons why this particular island and the military is very strategic to the interest of the US and the UK. If Trump rejects this particular deal, there's high likelihood that it will undermine the integrity of the UK as a bargaining partner with Mauritius, as well as with other African countries that are involved in this whole process. Should remember that this particular case was taken to the UN and supported at the UN General Assembly by most African countries, as well as before it was forwarded to International Court of Justice for advisory rule, which recommended that this particular island should be transferred back to Mauritius. And since that time, UK renewed negotiation in 2022, which led to this particular 2024 joint declaration that the Chagos Islands will be returned back to the Mauritius government.
Right. And how does the UK's decision to delay progress on the Chagos deal align with international legal rulings, particularly the UN and the ICJ's stance on Mauritius' sovereignty over the islands?
This particular, the decision of the UK government to delay the transfer of sovereignty to Mauritius government on Chagos Islands does not align with the decision of United Nations General Assembly as well as the International Court of Justice to return back the island immediately, because the whole decision is now more than 4 or 5 years now. So in 2019 and so on, that some of this decision has been taken. The earlier resolution sending this matter to ICJ was in 2017. So the delay is not in alignment with the international best practice or rule-based, the so-called rule-based international order. However, the strategic interest of the UK government is aligned or in partnership, aligned with the US military interest. And that's why the UK government cannot take final decision on this matter. In 2016, the UK renewed the lease agreement over the Garcia with the US up to 2036. So after the expiration of the initial 50 years lease agreement. So this makes it very challenging for the UK government to finalize decision without the consent of the US.
Right. And Doctor, if Trump rejects the deal, what diplomatic and geopolitical consequences could this have for the UK-Mauritius relations, as well as for the broader UK foreign policy, especially in this post-Brexit era?
Okay, there are so many consequences that can be drawn out of this. Mauritius is just one of the few countries in this region that are yet to sign up to Belt and Road Initiative of the Chinese government. So this appears that the government of Mauritius still align or still have certain inclination towards the West. So this particular breakdown in this particular negotiation or failure of the UK government to fulfill its own part of this deal may actually push Mauritius government away from the Western-oriented foreign policy and may make China more attractive to the Mauritius government foreign policy consideration. Again, it will challenge UK government as well as the US as defender of rule-based international order, which they have always claimed to be. So these are some of the concerns that are relevant and consequences that may emerge from this particular deal and possible fallout if reject the deal.
Right. Thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valued insights and analysis on the latest on that Chagos deal.
Thank you for having me.
Merci beaucoup. Hi. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.